Summer routines live or die by how easy they are. And honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at groons.co. That's code PODCAST at gruns.co.
Looking for these better days.
It is Monday, June 15th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The Carolina Hurricanes are your Stanley Cup champions after a 3-0 shutout of the Vegas Golden Knights last night in game number 6. We tie a bow around the NBA season after the Knicks were crowned NBA champions, and UFC Freedom 250 on the lawn of the White House delivered all the drama. We're going to get into everything, plus a little preview of the College World Series action for today and tomorrow. Jake Hassan will join me on this episode of Better Day presented by FanDuel. We start in the Stanley Cup final last night. Carolina with a 3-0 shutout victory over the Golden Knights. They win the series 4-2, and it was just a one-sided game last night. That's really the only way that you can describe it. Carolina, their defense was incredible. They clogged every lane. They didn't allow Vegas any opportunities to get pucks through to the net. At one point, Vegas went 30 minutes with only 2 shots on goal. They went pretty much the entire second period, or the last 15 minutes of the second period, without a shot on goal, and then just had a couple in the beginning of the third period. Now, they did put more pressure on Brandon Bussey at the end of the third period. They finished with 22 shots on goal, Bussey stopping all of them as he was incredible in the game last night. Made a couple of clutch saves early on in the first period, where Vegas really had some opportunities on the power play. Vegas had 3 power plays and were unable to score on any of them, and actually Carolina did not score on their 3 power play opportunities. They did get the empty netter at the end by Nikolai Ehlers, but the first goal was scored by Taylor Hall, 3:47 into the first period, and then Jackson Blake with a goal in the second period, as it was a 2-0 game going into the third, and Vegas just, you never thought, as crazy as it sounds, because we've seen all the comebacks here in these playoffs and in this final as well. Like, Carolina was down 4 goals going into the third period and they forced overtime, right? So neither team was ever out of it. But last night, watching that game, watching it be as one-sided as it was, with Vegas not being able to get anything through to the net and playing, I don't want to say they were hesitant, but they passed up shots for the extra pass. Maybe they were trying to be too cute, or maybe it was just Carolina's defense that was in their head and they were trying to do whatever they could to get the better look towards the goal. You never felt confident that Vegas was going to come back and make it a game. You thought maybe on the power play late, if they can get 1 goal, make it a 2-1 game, then you pull the goaltender and you see what can happen. You know how good Vegas has been when they had the extra attacker on. But nope, Carolina's defense was just that dominant last night. Congratulations to everybody who placed a long shot bet on the captain, Jordan Stahl, to be the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, as high as 100-1 at one point, 50-1, 75-1 at different moments before the series. He was named your Conn Smythe Trophy winner, becoming the oldest player to earn the honors at 37 years old. What a storybook ending, if this is the ending of the career for Jordan Stahl, winning the Stanley Cup and winning the Conn Smythe Trophy. Dude scored in, every game of the finals except for last night's game, and he actually became the first player in NHL history to go 17 years from a Stanley Cup win to the next Stanley Cup win. So he won the Stanley Cup in 2009 as a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and obviously last night, the previous mark, 16 years, held by Chris Chelios from 1986 to 2002. That, according to ESPN, just an incredible stat there. What an incredible season it was for the Golden Knights. They made headlines when they fired Bruce Cassidy with 8 games left in the regular season, but clearly the move was the right move as John Tortorella took over and led them to the Stanley Cup final. But Carolina was just that much better when it counted, and you have to wonder if Brandon Bussey was in net for the beginning of this series, if it even gets to 6 games. That's not a knock on Frederick Anderson. That is just showing how good that Brandon Bussey played in the last few games here for Carolina. So we turn our attention now to next season, where the Carolina Hurricanes are the favorites up on FanDuel to win the 2026-2027 Stanley Cup at plus 650. The Colorado Avalanche, the second favorite, at 7-1. The Vegas Golden Knights, 14-1, a little ways down the list, and we don't even know who's going to be the head coach of the Knights next season. We tied a bow on the NBA season as the Knicks win the title on Saturday night, and honestly, like, I'm still in disbelief. I can't believe the Knicks are the NBA champions. It's just unbelievable. We had a really good NBA Finals. I'm gonna miss NBA. We had a great NBA playoffs, but we had a really good NBA Finals, and I'm just gonna miss betting Spurs first quarters because they were truly a cash cow throughout the entirety of the postseason, and yes, into the NBA Finals. The Knicks, with all the come from behind wins, down double digits in multiple games, in every game of the series, down double digits, and just absolutely incredible to see. You know what they were able to accomplish. We do have odds on the NBA champ for next season. And it's interesting, the Knicks coming off the title in what is essentially a weaker uh, Eastern Conference. They're the fourth favorite to win the title right now. Like it's the two teams in the Western Conference, which you would expect, the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Both of those teams are not going anywhere. We've said it on this pod. I've said it on other shows. No one's going to disagree with me. The road to the NBA Finals for the next couple of years is going to go through San Antonio and Oklahoma City. The Spurs are young. They're only going to get better. OKC has assets to even improve their team. Those are the top two teams that will be competing every single year in the Western Conference. But then the third favorite, and by the way, Spurs plus 250 and Thunder plus 260. Third favorite is the Boston Celtics at plus 550, and then the Knicks at plus 650. We don't know what the Celtics are going to look like next year, but and could you imagine, like, if they pull off a Giannis trade, and then, yeah, Jaylen Brown's probably gone, but Giannis on the Celtics, that might be and you can argue about Jaylen Brown versus Giannis however much you want. Those odds will shorten up from plus 550 maybe to plus 300. I could see the Knicks, having another great season. Like, why not? They have flexibility. They're going to make some moves. They're going to make some decisions on this roster moving forward. But nothing about this performance and this finals in looking at the landscape of the Eastern Conference moving forward. Yeah, Boston's going to be there, but who else is going to be there? I mean, the Pacers, you would think maybe are back. Cavs, Pistons, no, I don't know. Heat, if they get Giannis, certainly. But I think the Knicks have just as good a chance as anybody to get back to the NBA Finals next year. Knicks plus 650. And now we just wait. We turn our attention to the draft, which will be next week, as AJ Debansa is a minus 500 favorite up on FanDuel to be the number one overall selection. Last night, UFC Freedom 250 on the lawn of the White House. What a spectacle it was. And congratulations to Justin Gaethje, who wins as a heavy underdog against Ilia Topuria, getting a stoppage in between rounds 4 and 5. He absolutely just beat up on Topuria, and that's why he had a stoppage. The side stopped the fight at the end of the fourth round. What a performance by Gaethje, who again was a heavy underdog in the fight last night. And you looked at that card, and there were several like really big underdogs. And for the beginning of the night, it was all the favorites kind of coming through as you would have expected. Bo Nickel was a heavy favorite. He won his fight against Kyle Dawkins. Mauricio Ufi was a heavy favorite against Michael Chandler, and he won as well. Josh Hokett, same thing, heavy favorite over Derek Lewis. He won. Sean O'Malley, heavy favorite, won his fight. But then Cyril Gane got the win over Alex Pereira in the second round, and that was kind of an even split. But then Gaethje as the big upset, beating Ilia Topuria in a TKO. So congratulations to Justin Gaethje, and congratulations to all fight fans. What a spectacle it was last night on the lawn of the White House. For our official plays, we did go 2-1. We lost a Pereira fight, but we had the over 1.5 in the Lopez fight, which we cashed, and we also had Ufi to knock out Chandler, and that came through. So we thank AJ Hoffman for his UFC selections. College World Series underway in Omaha. Bracket 2 will be playing today, second games for them. And then we have some elimination games coming up tomorrow. Jake Hassan, boots on the ground in Omaha, has a recap and a preview of all the action.
Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
It is Monday, June 15th, and the College World Series continues to roll on. We are slowly whittling away all of the final teams. We are slowly inching our way to that final series until we crown a national champion. We now say goodbye to Ole Miss, the Rebs. We hardly knew ya. They get absolutely pounded by Troy on Sunday's matchup, an elimination game. So Ole Miss out of the running now. Troy, team of destiny, they just continue to do this. They just continue to find a way and find a way. And no matter what, they just continue to win these games. Come from behind fashion against Ole Miss. They just won't give up. Ever since the regionals, this team has had a never say die attitude. They have had just these moments where they continue to shock you. So Ole Miss advances. Now they are going to continue to try and claw their way out of the losers bracket after they had lost the initial game to West Virginia in Friday's action. So now Troy gets another opportunity to avenge their loss on Friday, lose and go home. It's the last chance for Troy. Initial lean for this game, which is going to take place on Tuesday. This is going to be the Tuesday afternoon game between the Mountaineers and the Trojans. Initial lean here is going to go, in my opinion, towards West Virginia. This West Virginia team just has found time after time, almost the same as Troy, honestly, enough juice in the tank to pull it off and upset and find ways to win. And I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. I think West Virginia just has the pitching staff. I think you saw it a little bit today, and even honestly in the game, the first game against West Virginia for Troy, they just don't have the deep enough pitching staff to contend with some of these teams that have a little bit of deeper rosters. Maybe they can outslug and maybe they can win it that way, but West Virginia knows what it's like to beat this Troy team. They actually kind of did the reverse Troy in that one, where they were the ones that came from behind and had the late minute inning dramatics and were able to get ahead late in that first Friday game. So initially on that one is going to go to West Virginia. I think they are looking for a rematch from Sunday's game against North Carolina, and they are looking for a way to advance. But North Carolina going to be tough to beat. Unblemished record right now. Double elimination the rest of the way. North Carolina absolutely holding it in the driver's seat for to be the team to go to the national championship series and face whoever comes out of the, let's just call it what it is at this point, the SEC side of the bracket. So North Carolina, definitely in the driver's seat. You see them at the top of the odds board for the futures, as they rightfully should be. They look like a well-oiled machine right now, where some of these other teams on their side of the bracket are kind of starting to dig deeper into their bag of tricks. But I do expect that to be a rematch of North Carolina and West Virginia. And then West Virginia, of course, would have to win 2 straight against UNC. Let's go to the other side here, and let's go to today's Monday night game, which we're going to see. And this is just, no two ways about it with these Monday games. We have Alabama and Texas in the afternoon for the loser side of things. Alabama, of course, losing to Oklahoma on Saturday, and then Texas just getting absolutely put in the dirt by Joey Volchko and Georgia on Saturday night in what was an all-time pitching performance, one of the best pitching performances we've ever seen in Omaha from Georgia's Joey Volchko. But as far as the games that are actually going to happen, Alabama and Texas, this game goes off at 1 p.m. Eastern, at 1 p.m. Central on Monday. And Texas, heavy favorites, as they should be. Ruger Riojas has been very good, very steady all year, and this is going to have to be a all hands on deck situation for Texas and this pitching staff because their backs are against the wall. So is Alabama's, but Texas will throw the kitchen sink here. If Rojas can't get it done, then Luke Harrison is going to be next on deck, and then Sam Cozart will be behind him. Texas is going to pull out all of the stops if they get behind here. But I don't even think they're going to get behind. I expect this to be a bounce back performance for the Longhorns. I think that Alabama was absolutely just silenced against Oklahoma. Now they get a better pitching staff in Texas and a Texas team that's going to be out for vengeance. And Texas is going to want to get another shot at Georgia. Texas is going to want to claw their way out here. They know they're a talented team. They're a team loaded with MLB talent, whether you're talking about Dylan Volantis, who admittedly wasn't good on Saturday, but you still have in the lineup captained by Aiden Robbins, who's going to be maybe a first-round pick, but definitely a top 2-round pick for Texas. And they want to get back here. They want to see that Bulldog team again. So I think Texas on the run line would possibly be a good look here, but I do expect them to win. Maybe you can, if you want to get really creative, money line parlay Texas with your favorite World Cup match or your favorite MLB prop, your favorite MLB game. I do think Texas, though, does avoid elimination. I think they will end up sending Alabama home. And let's talk about the Monday primetime game. Oklahoma and Georgia. And Oklahoma really, really feels like they have this team of destiny thing. They got guys who are Kirk Gibsoning this thing where they roll their ankle and then just launch home runs. They have freshmen throwing shutouts for 7 innings in Omaha at Charles Schwab Field. Everything's working for the Sooners, and everything just seems to be clicking at the right time. We're going to find out, though, because this Georgia team is an absolute menace, an absolute machine, powered by Bucky's sour strips. But whatever works, it's college baseball. You find weird quirks everywhere at this point in the game. But Georgia, I don't know how you go against them. I think that maybe if you want to get a little frisky, Oklahoma plus the 1.5 would be a way that you can attack this. But I certainly don't want to be on any side, on the other side of a Georgia fade right now, because this team is just a well-oiled machine. I think Saturday night was a perfect encapsulation of that. Joey Volchko, a transfer who had issues with the home run and issues with the fly ball. Oh, all he does is go out and strike out 15 batters in a complete game performance. Just for people who maybe aren't mathematicians like myself, 15 of the 27 batters outs that Volchko got were via the strikeout. I think Georgia is just finding their guys all peaking at the same time. You could say the same for Oklahoma, but I think this Georgia team has their sights set on a championship, and they can see the path now, and they'll be very much in the driver's seat should they be able to vanquish Oklahoma, which would then kick the Sooners down to the loser side of the bracket, which then if things go according to plans for Texas tomorrow, it would be Oklahoma versus Texas in an elimination game on Tuesday. And I would still lean Texas in that one. You're looking at Cameron Johnson probably for the Sooners in that elimination game. Depending on the wind, that could be very good or very bad for Oklahoma. But regardless, assuming you get a good performance out of Riojas tomorrow for Texas, it's Luke Harrison in that Tuesday game for Texas, a guy who's been in big spots before. He's been called Texas's stopper. He's been able to end skids for them before. He's stepped up, jumping around from Friday night starter to Saturday night, and sometimes now finding himself as the third starter on this team. So I think we are barreling towards a Texas and Georgia rematch, which that would end up being on Wednesday. And then should Texas win that rematch game, we'd have an elimination game on Thursday as well. So that'll be something to watch for. I think that would be incredibly exciting. And as somebody with Texas futures, please, that would be really great. But right now, it looks like we are on track for a North Carolina and Georgia national title game. Of course, it's Monday. A lot of games to be played left. College baseball could go any which way, but a lot of very exciting games. But as far as Monday goes, I think Texas and Georgia are the teams that are going to be getting the wins. Alabama would be getting eliminated. And then as far as Tuesday goes, for that first game, we would have to wait to get the Tuesday night game set. But I lean West Virginia over Troy as well to see West Virginia go back against North Carolina. if you're looking for ways to actually play this, I would say to go find the best price you can on Georgia over North Carolina. Seems like the most likely outcome for us right now. I'm Jake Hassan. That does it for this edition of the College World Series update. Follow me on Twitter at the Jake Hassan. You can find me on Substack as well, hassanshacks.substack.com. This has been brought to you by Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Make today a better day.
Great stuff there from Jake on the College World Series at Omaha. Major League Baseball, we have an interesting slate here today as the A's, maybe with a Vegas hangover after playing the most ridiculous game you'll ever see yesterday in Vegas to complete their Vegas series. The Rockies beat the A's 23-9. Yesterday here at Las Vegas Ballpark. And despite that ridiculous score and the ridiculous score that we had in the first game between Vegas and Milwaukee, still 4 out of the 6 games went under the total here in Vegas. So the books made the lines appropriate because they were high enough for sure. But several relievers pitched yesterday for the A's. Now they return home to Sacramento tonight, where there might be a little bit of a Vegas hangover. A's take on the Pirates. JT Ginn on the mound for Sacramento, Vegas A's. And Jared Jones goes for the Pirates. A's are a minus 131 favorite up on FanDuel. I'm kind of interested in fading the A's and going with the Pirates here, just playing the Vegas hangover after what was just a very exciting week here in town and weekend for the Athletics. All right, that'll wrap up this episode of Better Day. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Keep it locked into everything we have going on up on betterday.com. Yes, the NBA season is over. Yes, the NHL season is over. We will have bets on the NBA draft coming up, and we are starting to get into our football prep. We have some exciting announcements, including a major announcement coming very, very soon. You guys are all going to be very, very locked in to that, and can't wait till you guys see everything that we've been putting together. We've been working hard on behind the scenes. Truly think that this is going to be the best product, especially going into football season this fall. I truly think Better Day is going to be, the best destination for all of your sports betting, handicapping needs and research and all that stuff. So we thank you guys for being a part of our journey, and we can't wait to show you guys what's next. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
You can never have too many tools. Shop DeWalt deals at Lowe's. Get a free Select DeWalt 20-Volt Max Power Tool when you buy a Select 20-Volt Max 5-amp-hour battery kit. Plus, get a free additional DeWalt 20-Volt Max 8-amp-hour battery when you buy a DeWalt 10-inch 20-Volt Max dual-bevel compounded miter saw. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 6/24 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groones is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groones.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.